Yesterday we learned about the Kansas-Nebraska Act and the seemingly simple solution that we were just going to let the people in Kansas and Nebraska territories vote for whether or not they wanted to allow slavery. Well, the result of that decision was anything but simple, okay? It was crazy chaos that came to be known as Bloody or Bleeding Kansas because it literally led to pro-slavery and anti-slavery people flooding in Kansas and physically fighting over whether or not their new government in that territory was going to allow slavery. So it is not a simple thing. You have supporters from the Northeast, anti-slavery supporters, who encourage people to go to Kansas and settle there so that they can vote anti-slavery in the new government. You have border ruffians from the South coming up from the slave state of Missouri and illegally voting in elections to create a pro-slavery government. You have pro-slavery people with guns. You have anti-slavery people sending guns to anti-slavery people in Kansas. You have people accusing other people of treason. You have all sorts of stuff going on, and it is anything but simple. And it causes problems not only in Kansas itself, but it causes problems in the government with people arguing. It causes problems all over the country with people arguing about what's going on in Kansas. On the Senate floor, Charles Sumner of Massachusetts gets beat with a cane. I mean, people bring weapons to the Congress. It's crazy, okay? During this time, we're going to be introduced to a man by the name of John Brown. John Brown was a staunch, very determined anti-slavery man, and he was determined that the stuff that the abolitionists were doing, speaking out against slavery and holding meetings, wasn't going to do anything. It hadn't changed anything. It wasn't enough. And he really believed that it was his duty to fight against slavery, physically fight against this evil that was happening in the country, that it wasn't just going to go away on its own. And he moves into Kansas with his sons and gets involved in what's the Potawatomi, I can't say it right, massacre, which basically is a response to pro-slavery people coming into Lawrence, looking for people. They're not there. They burn the city. They set fires. They loot buildings. I'm sorry. Looting is when you like break into a building in a riot and you take stuff out, steal stuff basically. They destroy anti-slavery newspapers. And kind of after this happens too, so this is part of it, John Brown hears, I believe, rumors that there's going to be an attack on him and his sons. And they go out at night and they kill 5 pro-slavery people with swords. And this is what's known as the Massacre of the place that I can't say right. So, I mean, these are really crazy times. We're going to learn a little bit more about John Brown and what we call Bleeding Kansas today. And while it might seem simple, it was anything but simple. And it leads to, along with everything else we've learned about, this split between pro-slavery and anti-slavery, North and South, that just doesn't seem to be able to resolve itself. And so maybe John Brown is right. Maybe fighting is the only way to solve this problem, because it's going to happen. This is 1854 when this all starts. By 1861 to 1865, there's going to be a huge war because of all these problems.